कालीकूर्च समायुक्त मायाकूडोपदेशतः प्रणवार्थप्रबोधिन्यौ नमामि गुरुपादुके श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः क्रीं मात्रे नमः नमस्सदसे Namaskaram to one and all. We are continuing on with the Hindu Holocaust narrative of Nityananda and debunking that narrative. So in this portion of the video, I am still on the first video. I have got a lot to do and there are about 10 hours of content. Most of it is repetitive content, so as I told you before, I may be skipping a lots of parts and taking only the crucial parts where he is introducing new points and new arguments, and I am going to debunk them. And hope my new look is good, self done finally. So starting on with it, in this part of the video he is trying to relate whatever happened to him with the sadhus, and he is totally creating a fake narrative about the media and the public reaction to the media. Let us see.
I tell you, yesterday what has happened? Mob lynching of Kalpavriksha Giri Maharaj, Sushil Giri Maharaj, Nilesh Telgani. In this, the media is little late. They have not yet released any video of showing, morphing and showing the sadhus raped some girl or did some illegal activity, and they have not yet produced and shown. Usually they do that first. It's a very clear plan. First thing, they will show that that person is anti-social. Then they will do mob lynching. I don't know how they missed this time their plan. Maybe the video got deleted somewhere when they did morphing. And I tell you, they will dilute even this news.
Now this is the problem. That is, he is saying that usually they will release some video to show that the Swami is the person is actually antisocial, and then they will do the mob lynching. So here what is being established is this: the media and the public are together against any sannyasi. So they will create a plan like this. They will create a video first, like him doing some illegal activities or him raping a girl, and then they will do this. Now let us see how this works in reality. In reality, most of the balidans that has happened do not have any preceding criminal incidents in the name of that person. After the incident has happened, let us take the case of Ramalingam, let us take the case of Padi Suresh, or let us take the case of Ramamurthy, or let us take the case even of this person, Tirunelveli auditor Ramesh. So in all of these cases, there is no preceding record created by the media. The people did not even know those people existed. Even in this case of the Swami and two Swamis who have been mob lynched, there is not even a record of in the public media, in the national media, that these people existed. So that is not the pattern. But once the incident has happened, what he is telling is correct. They will try to dilute the incident, they will try to create personal motives, and they will not make it into a religious problem. This is what the media is doing, which is very, very wrong. I agree. If the issue has happened because of religious reasons, then the media must have the integrity to say that it has happened because of religious reasons. If the issue has happened only because of personal reasons, then we should not convert it into a religious issue. And this can only come out after the inquiry from the government, which I think is what is happening right now in this case. So I am not absolving media of any wrongdoing at all. I am saying instead they are trying to create an anti-Hindu narrative. There is no doubt about it. They are trying to support the other religions and saying this is pseudo-secularist. I mean, this is secularism and they are pseudo-secularists. There is no doubt about it. But whether this pattern, what he is saying here is maybe the video got deleted. So what he is trying to say here is that his video was released with the purpose of killing him. If that is the case, then why the hell should the media and the government give him so much leverage in the court? there were, I will tell you openly, there was only one mob lynching incident, that too was not lynching, only one mob protest that ever happened in Nityananda ashram. And that mob protest, that is unwanted, that is, there is no action from Nityananda's ashram. Suddenly people got together and they started throwing stones and they started throwing petrol bombs. This happened only once in Tiruvannamalai, and the ashram was closed down for 2.5 years after that. This is the only incident. And those who were involved in this incident were the local people who did not want, who did not want to associate themselves with Nityananda, and who did not want that ashram to be operative because it is giving a bad name to their place, to Tiruvannamalai. So they did this. And apart from this, the other incident which happened in Bidadi, where some ashram, where some monks were, so-called monks, so-called sannyasis, they were attacked. That incident happened because of this. That is, they called a reporter, I think from Suvarna TV, and they told him that we can prove something happening to you during the meditation process. You have your EEG machine and everything on your head. So this happened. And when nothing happened to him, problems started inside the ashram, problems started in the press meet, and people attacked that reporter. The reporters attacked back, then people came together and some stones were thrown. This is a mutually incited incident. Let us make this very clear. This is a mutually incited incident that happened between the Ashramites and the outsiders. And this is not like immediately after the video was released, mob lynching started for Nityananda. So this is what he is trying to say here, and this is the problem with this narrative. That is, he is trying to show whatever mistakes he has done in reality has been done by the others, is a setup. But no other incident, in no other Balidan, in no other mob lynching, that person is known to the public before. That person is only known to the public after the incident, and that too because of the media's projecting him as a victim. Victim of religious persecution or victim of individual violence is a different question, but at least media is taking up that news and projecting that news, and that is something good. So whatever the reason they are giving may be wrong. I agree, it is wrong. It is wrong to give personal motives for these kinds of lynchings, because there is an insidious motive on the ground level, so that has to be addressed. I agree to that. So that being said, another point here is about the morphed video. Whenever he is speaking about the video, he is saying morphed video. It is not a morphed video. The CD has undergone lab analysis, and the report is a matter of court record that it is not a morphed video. Only after it was proven that it was not a morphed video, he said, I am like a 5-year-old boy, I cannot indulge in sex. Then when that was proven wrong, he tried to protest silently, saying that it is a personal issue, it is consensual sex. So he has told all these statements in the media, he has told all these statements as a matter of court record. And now he is coming back and saying that I have done absolutely nothing, the video was morphed. It has already gone through 3 levels of argument after this, and then he ran away. So that is the reality. Whereas now he is trying to create a scenario, he is trying to equate his own problems to the problem of a sadhu who has been mob lynched, by making situations which are not there. This is a double negative scenario. For example, I am stealing something, and the police is having record of myself as a thief. Now something goes missing in the area, there is a burglary in the area, and the police is coming for enquiry to my house. This is the scenario. Okay, now police is enquiring another innocent person all of a sudden. What I am saying is, that person's police record gone missing, that's why there is no record for him previously. My record did not go missing, that's why I have a record. So what I am essentially doing here is, I am a proven criminal, my record is there, but another person who is an innocent fellow, accidentally he gets some enquiry from the police. So I am saying the police enquired him just like they enquired me. He is innocent, I am also innocent. On the other hand, see, I will ask, then others will ask me a question. Well, you have a police record, that fellow does not have a police record. I will say, no, no, that police record has gone missing. That is the reason why he is not having a police record. So this is a different level of lying. This is a different level of twisting the reality to fit your own ends, that you have to be very careful in order to remove the layers and see the lies. It is a very hard task, and I am trying to do it as much as I can. Hopefully you are understanding what is happening. Moving on. Speak.
And they will try to show these three people as thieves or antisocial elements. Cookie cutter. It's a clear methodology. First, they will show how they made Asaram Babu illegitimate by putting a false accusation, false case on him, and destroyed literally his whole Sangha, which is one of the biggest, strongest backbone of Hinduism. And I am telling you, it is absolute false case. Asaram Babu was framed.
Now, this is the second problem. As I told you before, the case of Ashram Babu. What happens in case of Ashram Babu is mutilated bodies of young men, 16-year-old, 14-year-old boys, are found near the ashram. So people are saying ritual sacrifice has happened inside the ashram. So case is being filed. That is a separate case. Then one 16-year-old girl from the ashram is coming forward and giving a complaint that she has been raped by Ashram Babu. Okay. After this has happened, and there are also a lot of money scams and other things happening inside the ashram. Ashram Babu does not have a lineage. He has claimed so many healings and other things, and he has been using a chair to beat up people. And if you look at his meetings, his so-called satsangs, and an evangelical highly charged evangelical meeting wherein people are going into a frenzy, it will be one and the same. If you look at this, what is called as these healing, rising meetings, arising meetings, whatever they are, shaking and raising, I don't know in those meetings. So those meetings and Ashram Babu's satsang will be exactly one and the same, just like Nityananda's satsangs. So what is happening here is that fellow was making money. He got 3 warnings from Akhila Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, from Vishwa Hindu Parishad. He got 3 warnings. They were asking him to resign the position, go and do something else, move away from your organization, we will let you go. Then whatever legal persecution is coming, face it properly. We don't want to make it into a public scenario. We don't want to throw mud on our own faces. We don't want to throw mud on our own faces, because anyways you are having the banner of Hinduism. Exactly same approach happened with Nityananda. He was warned so many times that this will become a national issue, this will become a public issue. Whatever might be the case, we know and we say that you are not a Hindu sannyasi, but we cannot go and prove it to everybody, so please resign your position and move away. He actually agreed to this, and that is when Ashok Singhal got involved, that is when Rajiv Malhotra got involved, and that was a scenario. All of a sudden he kept the banana in everybody's mouth, and he continued his activities as he continued, because he got some support, some inflow of sannyasis from the west. He was making this whole drama of himself being cheated, himself, all his existing devotees gone. In the satsangs, in 3 days of satsang, he was continuously crying like a bloody bitch, and he was trying to project this scenario as if he is totally helpless. And then when people came together pitying him, he immediately started becoming like, I am like this. He started doing that nonsense. So that is the problem here. The problem here is you have been given sufficient warning. We have been decently asked to step down. And when you are not doing it, when you continue to be a threat to the society, when you continue to insult the Hindu society by doing all kinds of criminal activities in the name of a Hindu sannyasi, then the real Hindu organizations will question you. And they will do the public protest that is required, and you will be taken down. That is the process. That is how it works. So basically, Ashram Bapu did not heed to warnings. Nityananda also did not heed to warnings. So the cases came in the court. And then what happened was, the ashram was shut down for Ashram Bapu because he did not have the opportunity to run away from India, and comparatively he is having lesser money than Nityananda. So the organization got dismantled. But in case of Nityananda, he had the opportunity to run away and he ran away. That is the reality. Now another problem here is that whatever is going to happen, it is not going to be like POTA. POTA is Prevention of Terrorism Act. No questions asked. You can be jailed for any number of days without having a court trial at the pleasure of the government. But these cases are not like that. Let me make that very clear for those who are not in India. Any person who is arrested for any reason whatsoever other than terrorism has to be produced in the court within 15 days. You cannot keep them in remand for more than that. I'm sorry, has to be produced in the court within 7 days, and then with court permission the maximum period of remand that you can have for enquiry is only 15 days. And you have to produce him back in the court the same way you have taken him from the court. That is, you cannot break his head, you cannot break his hand and bring him. That is not possible. So that legal protection, that legal immunity, that legal safety is available for everybody who is appearing in the court as a convicted person. And this immunity, this protection, if Nityananda is not willing to take this and face the charges, if he is a chicken that he has run away, then it is not the government's problem, it is not the legal system's problem. It is Nityananda's own doing that he ran away. So why he is not speaking about running away? That is my basic question on this note. Continuing on.
They were framing him. Finally they caught him in one false case. Fortunately, by the grace of Paramashiva and Mahakala Bhairava, I saved myself before they could finish me off. Whether legally or illegally, they would have finished me off if I was available for them. Fortunately, with the grace of Paramashiva and the protection of Kala Bhairava, I saved myself.
Okay, so this is what he is saying. Legally or illegally, they might have finished me off. Who is this they that you are speaking about here? Make that clear, Nityananda. In the entire Hindu Holocaust scenario, you have never mentioned very clearly as to who is the enemy. I know what is your problem. You cannot say the government is the enemy, because that will create different kind of reaction. As you know, this is the pro-Hindu government which has happened in India after a very long time. So you cannot say that. You also cannot say that the media is trying to finish me off, because the media is not the persons who has given you case against you. Maximum you can do is you can go bitching about the people who have given case against you, and you can give case against those people retroactively. Like you are trying to file cases against Janardhan Sharma, you are trying to file cases against Lenin, you are trying to file cases against Aarti Rao. You are doing all of these things today after they have filed the case against you, and it is very clear that you will file case against anybody who is coming near you. For example, the child welfare officers who came into Gujarat. Now cases are being filed, cases have been filed against them. So what is your answer to this basic question? Who is this they that you are speaking about? Are you speaking about the people who have come out of your ashram? First point. Second point, are you saying they is the media? If the they is the media, then they must be giving more importance than it is being given right now to so many people who are willing to speak out against you. But it was just 1 day news for them, 2 days news for them. But when you were continuously sitting in Madurai Adinam, illegally sitting in Madurai Adinam, the media came and met you on a daily basis for 8 to 10 days. They took your interview, they took your explanations. They also came out, and whoever was protesting outside the Madurai Adinam, they spoke to them, and both sides were telecasted, given equal time in the media. It was not like they totally boycotted you. In fact, I remember you begging to the media after you came out of the jail for the first time. You are begging to the media and you are saying, please help me come out of this situation. There is so much negative publicity about my ashram and you are a part of it. So please make sure that you are giving positive publicity for my ashram. Like this, you are begging the media, I remember. So you cannot say media is the culprit here. Completely they are the culprit here. You cannot say that either. In your case, I am not speaking about the other cases, in your case. Because you are saying you protected yourself by running away. Whom did you run away from? Now, in your statement when you are asking for separate country, you have mentioned that all the organizations, Hindu organizations, including RSS, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, they have tried to kill me because I am the pontiff of Hinduism. What sort of pontiff are you? That is a separate question. We will come to that later. So, I am a pontiff of Hinduism, they tried to kill me, I am not able to live in India, so please give me asylum. This is what you went and asked every country. And this is how you shamed the name of India. The country which has given protection to all the religions of the world. There was no Congress party, there was no Communist party, there was no Muslim League. During the time when the Maraikayar Muslims were given asylum in Tamil Nadu hundreds of years back, there was no Congress party, there was no secular media, there was no human rights movement. When the Parsis who came running from due to Muslim persecution were given asylum in India, Parsis, Zoroastrians, no such setup there. And when the Jews came, the Armenian Jews came to the coast of Kerala, there were no such setup, secular setup. The country itself was secular. And then, now you are coming and saying that a Hindu sannyasi is unable to live in India, while the fact remains that you are not a Hindu sannyasi and you will be able to live in India facing the cases, but you don't want to face the cases. So you are simply saying they will mob lynch me, they will finish me legally or illegally. See, you have been in India till 2 years back. The problem has been happening since 2010. Now tell me, from 2010 till 2017 when you ran away, why were you not killed? You are able to move around freely in India, and the only place you did not come was the court. So that also the government tolerated, the justice system tolerated, and then when the order was so sure that you have to appear in the court, you ran away. This is exactly what has happened. There was no mob lynching ever planned against Nityananda. There were protests happening. And the third important event that created a lot of mob hatred towards Nityananda was in Madurai, inside the Madurai Adinam. He was sitting inside the Madurai Adinam, taking women inside the Odukam where no women has stepped ever since the foundation of the Adinam. He was trying to capture that Madurai Adinam and he was trying to steal the property of Madurai Adinam. He even made a statement saying, I am going to take over Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. Then people protested. If you are doing an atrocity, if you are trying to steal an ancient property, if you are trying to claim an ancient monastery of India, then there will be problem for you. There will be problem for anybody who is trying to do this. And for that, you cannot say this is mob lynching scenario. That is the reality. That is, you are coming inside my house and you are saying this is my house, then my relatives will stand outside and will protest against you. How can you say this is mob lynching? See, in every scenario, you are entirely trying to paint yourself as a complete victim, innocent victim, but that is not the case. Proof of this is the way in which your ashram people behave in the social media, the way in which your devotees behave in the social media. They behave like third-rated criminals, and they behave like third-rated cheap street-level hooligans. That is exactly what they are doing. So, when these third-rated cheap-level hooligans are there inside your ashram, then what sort of a fourth-rated street hooligan are you? That is the question that I am asking you. So, basically, I know for a fact that this mob lynching may or may not be related to insidious plots against the sannyasi or whatever. But your scenario is neither a mob lynching nor a planned attack by any anti-Hindu forces. It is simply the legal reaction that will come to a fraud sannyasi who is sitting inside the country. Same thing happened with Ashram Bapu. Now he is in jail. So if something cannot be proven in the court, whatever it might be, if the judgment is saying this is wrong, then if the appeal is happening, there also it is saying it is wrong. If the Supreme Court is saying it is wrong, it is wrong. If you don't agree to this, you cannot be a citizen of India. As simple as that. If you think that you are above the judiciary system of India, then you cannot be the citizen of India. Now, there is question about your citizenship itself. Your passport is frozen. First of all, how did you go out of the country? For that itself, there is 3-year imprisonment for you. Once you come back, that will be the first thing that they will ask you. You know this and you will not come back until unless you are made to come back. And as far as I am concerned, you will be made to come back once the lockdown is over. So dance whatever you want, speak whatever you want until the lockdown. After that, huge APU is waiting for you. Huge APU is waiting for you. Very big rod, sharply, illegal rod is waiting for you. That rod will go in, you will not be able to take it out. I am 100% sure this is going to happen to you. But you are trying to project to whatever number of people that are there in your shitsang that those sadhus are being lynched in the similar manner that I was attacked. This is disgusting, and that is what I am trying to say in the entirety of my video. Moving on.
Kalabhairava saved me. That's the truth. He gave me the clear understanding and knowledge, intelligence that what is happening on us is a war. It is not some, oh, we have done some crime and it's a prosecution. No, it's a persecution. I want all my devotees, I request all my devotees, humbly, please spend little time. Let us bring international attention to this continuous mob lynching of Hindu sadhus and Hindu leaders, this continuous Hindu holocaust happening in India and elsewhere.
Now he is saying this is a war. Okay, again we spoke about the doomsday scenario, and one important aspect of the doomsday scenario is to create a scenario of war as well, and that is exactly what he is doing. And once again he is talking of international attention. I have already spoken about it sufficiently. So now let us ask a question whether Nityananda is a part of the solution or a part of the problem. Basically, whatever else he might be, he is still a citizen of India. At least when the cases were happening, he is a citizen of India, and everybody is equal in front of the law. So he is also answerable in front of the law. So let him come forward and face the court. How many? 28 extensions is what he got from the court without appearing in the court. Now he is a wanted person for enquiry. He is a wanted person by the police for enquiry. That is his actual status, legal status right now. And that status will change to an absconded criminal further very soon. And all this is because of his activities of running away from the law and not facing the law. He is saying he does not believe in the legal system. Now once again I insist, if you do not believe in the legal system, then which legal system are you using? Or why are you using the same bloody legal system that you do not believe in order to persecute those who are speaking out against you? So you have no integrity whatsoever. You absolutely have no claims on truth whatsoever. You are right now a person who has run away from the law. And with all these things in place, you are trying to create a narrative. With all these in place, you are trying to create a narrative of a Hindu Holocaust. You are trying to create a narrative of yourself being a similar victim as a sadhu who has been killed. But you are alive and well. You are wearing so much of jewelry. You are sitting in some far off place saying Babbe to the Indian legal system. And this is not how a innocent sannyasi or a innocent sadhu works. He will be defenseless. but you are having so many defenses. That is not my problem. My problem is put those defenses to legal test and see what is going to happen. Do not sit somewhere and bark. Welcome to India, Nityananda. Let us see what the system is doing to you and what you are doing to the system. I challenge you. दच्चं योरा वृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगादिवेशजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपते सञ्चतुष्पते आं शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः.